We are a multidisciplinary network of scientists, researchers, civil society actors, private sector actors, and policymakers. Basically, each and one of you in one way or the other. You are all our stakeholders, and we welcome you to feel at home at this conference.
I think one of the key things that has come out for me is observing the enthusiasm of the Africans in the receipt of the African Manifesto and also in the launch of the program by the ATPS to start the biennial report on the state of science, technology and innovation in Africa. I was thrilled to see all these key stakeholders, government officials, spending days and nights negotiating and discussing, and it was really a dream come true to see the manifesto launched and they see the commitment from all the African countries represented here and African citizens in the diaspora to buy the manifesto and not sell it. And by that I mean they buy it and they implement what is in it. They own the process. That for me is the peak of this dream.
For me it was a celebration of science and technology. There was a lot of attention to science and technology, and what I liked most was that it was at such varied levels. There were top policymakers, but there were also very young engineers who had very concrete projects that they wanted to work on for half a year and then really sort of make a difference in the world. So in that sense it was a celebration of science and technology. Mm-hmm. But it was as much a celebration of democracy, because the conference itself was run in a way that youth, women, policymakers, scientists, they all participated in very equal ways. Very explicitly the different countries of Africa participated all on their own accord, with their own responsibility. And then ultimately we did discuss how science and technology should also help to make Africa more democratic and change its governance.
We're not just active in science policy. UNESCO also has a program in ecology, in hydrology, oceanography, basic sciences. Of course, UNESCO also has a big program in education that includes science education. UNESCO is also involved in the CPA process very closely. The UNESCO Institute for Statistics does training in statistics and indicators. They organize workshops and they're working on various projects.
There has been the theme of climate innovations, innovations that address the climate change challenge that the whole world is facing, and which has specific challenges for our African countries. There has been discussions relating to intellectual property and how Africa should also be addressing the challenges of intellectual property that are becoming more important in our development planning.
We work on a concept which is called brain circulation, which bringing people in transiently and go back, because we will never be able to make the brain gain unless we are back to a developed country, but we will have to work with the brain circulation concept. We establish chairs of excellence and we put capacity development packages for our researchers, and I think that this is a very important example that we can show it to you. For our new scientists who are joining our society, we provide them with capacity skills that makes them very useful for obtaining funds, making papers and so on. So this is a very important program for us to increase the capability of our scientific researchers.
We did consider specific recommendations for specific countries, But that again negates the very heterogeneity in NSI systems for countries. So what we concluded we'll do is to actually encourage countries to do technology needs assessments so that they will be able to match their technology action plans with the specific needs of the country at the time, because Africa is very heterogeneous and at different stages in their development struggle and also the STI platforms. So it will be difficult for me to just say 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment, but this is something that we will be working with countries that are available and willing so that we can actually map out the way forward to their specific contexts.
Oh, Africa could have done a lot better than it has done up to now. You know, the last 3 days I have been here, you can't help wondering whether this is not history repeating itself. Our forefathers who went through the independence struggle were confronted with the same kinds of problems that we are confronting now. I raised the issue in one meeting that we had. It's almost as if you don't want to go through something like this only to find out down the road that this is something others have already done, and you are making the same mistakes that they have made in the past. And I think that is the worrying thing, really, getting our countries to see this for what it really is, to understand it, and to agree to work towards achieving the goals of what ATPS is trying to do.
The issue of data is something that stared me on the face when I was trying to liaise with the colleagues to write the African chapter for the UNESCO report. And that is why, in liaison with the authors of the UNESCO report and also the national chapters, we are going to be launching the biennial report on the state of science, technology and innovation in Africa. Basically, to be able to tell countries that don't have data that we don't have it. And then those that have what they have and what they need to have, and so on and so forth.
We want to know who is who in STI development in Africa. We want to generate this database of personnel who we can run to help us when we want to get information regarding science, technology and innovation. And all of you are key players to this. Secondly, we want to begin a process of celebrating STI actors in Africa. Those who have performed, those who have really contributed to get hardcore data which will be used, or which we use to write the African chapter.
I think one of the missing link is the thing that still gives me some reservations in my heart, and the missing link is that we have beautiful policies, we have beautiful ideas like the Manifesto, we have beautiful promises and rhetorics of commitment to change, but in the implementation we often lack. So my dream, my prayer is that this manifesto will not be just another document that we are all excited about today that it was launched, but it's actually a rubric, a blueprint for action, that I as Kevin will do something about it, you will do something about it, our governments will do something about it, and the new renaissance in science, technology and innovation in Africa happens, so that within a few years we are out of poverty, we achieve the Millennium Development Goals, and my child will not suffer as I have suffered living in Africa with poor electricity supply in many cases, bad roads, and so many things that scientific and technological innovation capacity will help Africa to come out of.
It's the end of the conference, but it's the beginning of a new challenge ahead. It's the most exciting development for me, that the group of scientists and technologists and some people from industry have actually come together to plot the way forward for science and technology and innovation on the African continent. One of those missing points, not just one, is the issue of getting buy-in for the ideas and plans, but also implementation. I think that's a huge missing link to bridge the gap between fantastic scientific and technology, innovative ideas, but implementing that. And of course, the scientists can't do that on their own. You have to work together with political leaders and people from industry and from the civil society sectors.
So it's a whole lot of progress that ATPS has thought it fit that we too should be on the table, will be in the room from day one to the last day. And I said this is a whole lot of progress because even us as journalists, it's worried us. How much of science gets to the end user?